Quite a lot. I think one of the most important things that people learn is that, again, talking to the people who wrote it, the people who administered it, in sort of way. So first of all, the general software disciplines like testing, beta testing, and all those kind of things which weren't properly followed, they have to be followed. And so then security has to be in layers as well. So you have to have multiple defense layers. But another aspect is it's kind of social as well. People learned to be disciplined with their kind of emotions and with their attitude. So one thing I think which went wrong with the DAO is that when people realized something was kind of not quite right. Remember that Vlad and Sura published the vulnerability list before the DAO went live. Obviously there's not much people could do about it, but at that point they could try to at least roll these things back rather than trying to push and fix forward. And that is, I think, people have to learn to take this thing seriously and try to not to just push it forward and hope for the best. Well, blockchain technology could be a future of, let's say, lots of things, of the business and finance. At the moment, I think there's still a big gap between what people who are building technology think is required and what is actually required. It's like what I call it a semantic gap. It's the gap between what is the expectation, what this thing's supposed to be doing, and what the technology can actually do. So you can compare it to a computer where you want to use a computer to book the airline ticket to Canada from wherever from London, but what the computer actually can do is just to compute the sum of two numbers and put them into a different register. So you have a huge gap that you normally bridge this gap by using programming and blah, blah, blah. And so I guess Ethereum started to bridge the gap between what the blockchain can do and what is expected from it. But I think we're still far away from bridging this gap completely. And another problem is the not fully understanding the real world is another issue. Is people very often kind of too idealistic about people kind of cryptocurrency, anarchy and stuff like this, but you do have to care about real world all the time because it's here. We're people made of blood and flesh. We have to be protected by whatever, by these same laws that some people say, don't apply for in the cryptocurrency space, but somebody has to protect you, right, from all the bad things that can happen in the world. Specifically with Ethereum, I think I could see the convergence of multiple projects which can bring wonderful kind of synergies in here. So I think it's just something that I just read today, which has been kind of announced on CoinDesk, is that like Santander issuing the fiat-backed tokens on Ethereum blockchain, on a public blockchain, which is a kind of a huge deal. Of course, they will do it in a very kind of disciplined fashion, step by step, like with certain constraints. But this is one of the examples where this kind of combined with other things that people do, with let's say a stable cryptocurrency which require, let's say, collateral. You could start using the Santander tokens as a collateral for something else, and then you can use them for other things, like people demoed the electricity charging applications where you have a meter and it executes micropayments. Combine it with the like euro or dollar-based tokens, and you can see the system which actually consumer ready, because the consumers, most of them don't really want to deal with Ether or Bitcoin, but they will be prepared to pay in euros or in dollars. And the other kind of crucial thing which might happen is this. So this could happen in 12. Did you say 12 months? Yeah. So this is kind of a few things which potentially can happen within 12 months. I am not quite sure if the proof of stake is going to happen in 12 months. Probably not. What else? I hope the the swarm is actually something that I'm really excited about it. It's probably going to start fledging, but again, 12 months is not going to be enough time. So I think we will see some synergies. It's not going to be like explosion yet, but people will see where it's all going. I'm expecting after Santander, many more banks will follow, and they will start putting their tokens on exchange. Something like Ripple already trying to do, but they are very careful at the moment, as far as I understand, and I think the reaction so far was actually quite good, because nobody. I mean, there were a couple of cases where people say, yeah, it's kind of strangling the innovation, but generally, I think most of the regulators actually took it quite well. How they should do it, they should embrace it, I think. There has to be a certain amount of regulation, as I said, because people have to be protected. You know, I don't know exactly how they should be doing it, but I guess one of the ways to do it is I was imagining, like, let's say if you take Bank of England, like one of their plans was to, or potential plans is to issue pound, like a digital pound, it would be quite a big deal. Like, imagine if they run their own private blockchain, issue digital pounds for the whole world, and obviously they would then have an ability to see all the transactions, and them as a regulator, one of the regulators in, let's say, in the UK, they will be able to exercise certain controls over the monetary flow. But even given that controls, it will unleash the whole new stream of innovations. Because at the moment, I think, as far as I understand, in the UK, if you want to settle in pounds, you have to go through 3 major banks, and not many businesses can actually achieve that. So I think it's all kind of looking positive. The Ethereum ecosystem, to grow into such proportion, I can't follow it anymore. Like, everything that's going on, it's too difficult. I probably, like, if I wanted to follow it, I need another 4 or 5 people to try to read through all the papers and stuff. I used to be able to do it, but now it's impossible. So ecosystem is just kind of getting out of the single person's ability to follow this. And it's probably good, it's great. And one thing I noticed about Ethereum as well, specifically, even within the foundation, they're actually fostering diversity in a way that if one of the examples is that yesterday you probably saw the talks about WebAssembly, and Greg Colvin, who is actually the guy who, he said, I talked to him today, he said he wrote Java virtual machine, which is kind of cool. And so he's now a person who works on improvements of EVM. And my question to him is like, well, that seems kind of these two things, where are they going in like a different directions, like WebAssembly and improving EVM? If you want to kind of transpile the EVM into WebAssembly, why you're trying to improve it? But actually then I realized that, you know, you don't know where the best future is going to be. So if you can afford it, you invest in both paths and you see which one is going to be the best. I think I really like it about this approach, is that you let multiple streams develop, and you see when, I mean, the people will then agree by themselves which one is the best. You don't have to say, yeah, we all go this way or we'll go that way. And I think this is what I like about the ecosystem. It's the same thing about which happens with the split, and it's like, okay, if you believe this is the best way, you just go there. And if you believe that's the way, but we're still talking to each other. We don't, you know, like people from both Ethereum and Ethereum Classic sit at the same, you know, same table in the breakfast today, talk to each other. That's fine, it's cool.